An empirical formula experiment. How do we do an experiment to determine the empirical formula of something like calcium oxide? Well, empirical formula, that is the simplest ratio of, in this case, calcium to oxygen. So we need some measurements about the amount of calcium, the mass of calcium in calcium oxide and the mass of oxygen in calcium oxide. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to need a crucible to start with, because we're going to do the experiment in a crucible, and we are going to weigh the crucible. First thing we're going to do, weigh the crucible. We're then going to put some calcium into it, and we're going to weigh the calcium and the crucible. Weigh calcium and crucible. And we're going to subtract those two, because we need to know how much calcium's gone in. So if we take the crucible off, if we subtract the crucible, take the crucible away, we just get the mass of the calcium. So subtract 2 minus 1, and that's going to be equal the mass of calcium. Mass of calcium. So that is the 2 mass, and that is the 1 mass. Okay, after we've done that, we're going to heat, because we need to react the calcium with oxygen. And we're going to do that by heating the calcium in the crucible. So we heat the crucible with the calcium in it. So it reacts with oxygen in the air. Okay, after we've done that, it's important now we let that cool, because otherwise that could burn us. And then we're going to weigh the calcium oxide. So now it's reacted with oxygen, it's now calcium oxide. Weigh the calcium oxide. Okay, now we've done that, we're going to repeat 4, 5 and 6. 4, 5 and 6 until constant mass, because we don't know all the calcium has reacted. So if we heat it again and the mass goes up again, we know it hadn't all reacted. So we keep doing that until the mass is constant. That tells us that all the calcium is reacted to make calcium oxide. So finally, the final stage then, once we've done that, we're going to subtract the mass calcium oxide from the mass of the calcium in the crucible. So that was mass 2 from 2, the mass of calcium in the crucible. And that will tell us the amount of oxygen. That will equal the mass of oxygen. And when we've got the mass of oxygen, and when we've got the mass of calcium here, these are the 2 important ones that we can then use to do the empirical formula calculation. All these questions on Elsham High Chemistry